Well, good afternoon. We're very excited to have an opportunity to play Texas. I think the neat thing since I came here is to learn of all the traditions of the past and how they can carry into the future and to where we are today. I thought, the Texas A&M game was my first experience really with that a year ago and what it meant to fans of the past, and now to come full circle and get a chance to play Texas, 83 previous games. To be a part of some of those that came before us and to honor that tradition and history is huge. I think it'll be really big for our Arkansas fans. Think back and realize that two coaching legends with Coach Broyles and Coach Darrell Royal to have an opportunity to join that same series is pretty cool. For me as a relatively young coach, I think you hear about those games, those coaches, and the people involved, and now to be a part of that is really cool, no matter how it came about. I have a lot of respect for Coach Strong. Going back, we crossed paths earlier in our coaching careers, both being defensive coaches, both being guys that got head jobs relatively early in our careers. Have a lot of respect for him and the challenge he took on at Texas and what he's been able to do since the start of this year and the rebuilding project he has as well. So really, really neat. As far as, our plans, I briefly looked over an itinerary. I know we're playing on the 29th. We actually have the same exact time slot that they saved for Monday Night Football because of the playoffs. They never have a game on that Monday night. Fun little factoid from Mr. Breckheisen that we actually slide right into that slot, which means we won't be able to have any better public coverage or notoriety across the country. I think that'll be really good for us in recruiting, for us in this season to be able to play Texas Tech, Texas A&M, and to play Texas and to have TCU on a future docket on a schedule. That's pretty cool for us as far as trying to recruit our Tex Hogs and the people in the state of Texas as well as the people here in Arkansas. So with that, open it up for some questions. For recruiting, well, it's big for a program, and I think in today's world, whatever you can spin it into the recruiting world is big, and this is an easy one. I think to play the Longhorns, to have a chance to be a part of a series that was so such a meaningful game to both teams in the day when the Southwest Conference was there and all that goes into it. I know it'll mean a lot to some of those old timers, which to me I really enjoy. Having those guys grab me and talk to me about different things, and it's really pretty easy in today's world because of the way recruiting has gone with social media and network and everything. I was itching to tweet something out just because in today's world that's what it's all about, and I think we'll use that big time in the weeks ahead.
When did you find out for sure?
For sure. 4:10. Yeah. I was talking with Kevin earlier, and we were going to originally set this up at 4:15, and I said, hey, I got a flight. I'm flying out tonight to go do some recruiting, and luckily it's an in-state flight, so it's not going to be delayed that much. But I was worried that we were at 4:10. I didn't know, and then I'm glad because we switched it to 4:45.
It's not a practice go today. What's your itinerary?
Yeah, real good, Nate. This is the week before finals, so we went today. Regardless of who we were playing, I knew today, Wednesday, and next Saturday is going to be all Arkansas. We might dabble in a little bit next Saturday into some preparation. Most of my staff, though, the way they've changed the recruiting calendar is you can only be out last week, this week, and then this coming Sunday. So it pretty much forces you to dive full go into recruiting. Both Rob Smith and Jim Chaney, our two coordinators, I'll remove them from the road on Tuesday evening, so they'll come in Wednesday, get full go prep into Texas. The rest of my coaches will be in Friday morning. We have a senior banquet Friday night where we honor our seniors and really have a chance to do some great things for them. And then Saturday morning will be a pretty intense practice that'll involve mostly Arkansas, but we'll get a little Texas. And then the week after that is our finals week, and we'll jump into practice for sure at least 2 or 3 days that week. And in addition to the actual game week before we play them, probably get another additional 2 to 4 practices, which should give us a lot of time. I think we got to be required to be down there on 26. I won't hold me to that, but I know when I briefly glanced at their outline, I think that's the first thing we have to be down there for, so that would allow our kids to be here on Christmas Day. We'd probably, in my opinion, practice the 26th morning and to go there that afternoon.
You said you knew Charlie from recruiting back in the day. What are your impressions of him and what he got into?
Well, first, a very well thought of man in our profession. I think he has an outstanding reputation. Is a guy that does right. Isn't going to cut any corners. I think anybody that has worked with him or competed against him just talks about the value that he brings as a person, which I hold to a high standard in our profession. I don't really know a lot about Texas other than kind of one of my early childhood memories was just because of the reputation that they have and being a kid that liked college football and everything that went with it. So one of my best relationships to going against a coach that I've never competed against is Coach Mack Brown. I mean, I talk with Mack every week, and it's kind of been fun to build that relationship. It comes out of, ironically, when he tried to hire one of my coaches, and that's how it started and developed that relationship. So there's a lot of cool things working there. I purposely, we've been on the road, so we weren't able to get one in. I wanted to bring the kids over and meet with them, kind of talk about the game. So we started meetings here at 11 o'clock, and we didn't get off the field until 1:30. I know when we were standing out there, one of our managers had a phone and found out who the top four were, and I just kind of I knew what my AD was going through at that time. So I haven't really been able to follow it very much. I was waiting for our announcement, so I really haven't been tracking. I honestly have not watched a stitch of film or of TV yet today. So hopefully I know it's built excitement if we wanted to do that. I know we were getting restless waiting around till 4 o'clock. The easiest thing to do is to be part of those four, and you make life pretty easy. And that'll be a goal of ours, obviously, moving forward.
I guess there was all kinds of rumors you're going here, you're going there. I mean, did you honestly not know? Were you following that?
No, I was. I obviously was 2 weeks or after the game, and I really told our guys I thought if we could pull out that Missouri win, I thought we'd have a very, very nice shot at this bowl in particular, if not others. So, I didn't know when we weren't able to follow through how much that was going to affect us or whatnot. I started seeing all kinds of different people, and then after as a head coach, I've learned this one: if you hear one thing, it might be reality. If you hear two things, probably neither one of them are true. And if you hear three, you got to shoot in the dark what's going to happen, and that's kind of what I was feeling after I saw so many different scenarios.
See your players? Do they know? Do you see them around?
Ironically, today when I spoke with the guys at 11 o'clock, I wanted to give them a little bit of information. I basically shared with them, hey, it looked like we'd be playing somewhere from the 27th to January 3rd, and where that fell, I didn't know at the time. I said if I had a favorite, I'd look like I'd love to play Texas in Texas and have some fun with that, just because I got so many guys from the state of Texas, and they reacted very favorably. So I think they'll be excited when they find out.
So you think this was about the best case scenario?
For me, I don't think it could be any better. I think it has a great time slot, exposure, opportunity to play anytime any of these bowls. Back when I was at my other place, we played some early bowls against Florida school or in Florida, and I thought that was huge. You can have high school coaches and recruits over to your practices. So for us to be live on some Houston kids right now is really big. And then I think for proximity for our fans that want to travel and say, hey, I was here at this game when this started, when maybe we can use this to catapult us into 2015 will be huge.
Can you kind of think back where you all come in the last 4 weeks?
As I did take a moment earlier, I was taking a quick shower, and I was kind of thinking about during our second bye week, where we had a 3-week stretch, and I felt really good where we were at, but I wasn't able to give you guys, not just you, but our fans, I wasn't able to, give them this quantitative piece of a win or something that just solidified what I knew was coming. And I remember I was taking off on Sunday recruiting, and I was taking a quick shower because I was running out the door, and I remember I was like, these next 3 weeks are going to mean a lot to our program, a lot to our recruiting class, a lot to our staff, a lot to our fan base, and to win 2 games against ranked opponents back-to-back, to get as close as we did against Missouri and let us show that our warts are still there. We still need depth. I told our guys today, hey, you're going to get a great chance to practice. You're going to get, somewhere, from 10 to 15 bowl practices to show you what we got, because I got 25 guys coming in here looking to take your spot, and that's what good recruiting does. I know that. I've seen it. I've witnessed it. We'll get better because of the depth that we'll be able to recruit, and I've seen so many stories of these recruiting practices. I remember taking a walk-on wide receiver, telling him that he couldn't catch a cold, which he didn't want to hear. I moved him to defense, and he begrudgingly did it. And I think he signed a contract for over $8 million. Been in the league now 5 years. And I think about that story. I think about a defensive end that was an outside linebacker during a bowl practice. I took it from outside linebacker, moved him to defensive end. He didn't want to do it. A year later, he started one game as a defensive end, as a undersized rush end kind of guy. And 3 years later, he was a third-round draft pick and has won a Super Bowl. I mean, it's just these are really the times where a lot of defining stories happen, and it's really fun to be a part of them. Yeah, I think in the bowl games, you know, when it's solidified and locked in, and I think it's neat because it allows your fans to think that way. To be quite honest, I know I got a wife that will think that way. She'll be very excited that it's a indoor stadium, and a mother-in-law and everybody else. I think just people in particular like to know that, hey, we got good weather guarantee, and I think that's huge. And then it solidifies that you got two great teams that will practice their tails off for a great game that should be. I don't know how neutral it'll be. Obviously, we're in the state of Texas, and all that goes into it. I really hope our fans buy into going over there and having a great start to a 2015 season, literally, and then also so close to the new year. And I think that's a really big important part.